Tonight is a good night. Well, technically last night is a good night. But Shane Bowen got fired. Give a round of applause. No? Just me? Yeah, it better not just be me. Dude, that guy was a terrorist. Honestly, I don't know how he had a job for that long. It was really bad. But Mike Kafka saw enough. Another 10-point blown lead. He saw enough. So it's the right decision. It's really the right decision. And it was a long overdue decision. I was sold after the Broncos game where he gave up that didn't put in Dexter Lawrence, gave up that play. I was actually sold after the Cowboys game where he blew that gigantic lead too. This team is better than 2-10, with all the injuries with Neighbors, Scattaboo, all the corner and secondary injuries. It's been bad, man. It's been really bad, and Shane Bone honestly was not helping that cause. He was probably the worst offensive coordinator, or sorry, defensive coordinator. Whoa, I don't even know my own fucking team. Own defensive coordinator. It's the worst, probably the worst in the league. Like that, I could say with my whole heart, he was the worst defensive coordinator in the league. Like actually, like it was bad. So we're gonna go over some like clips or something, of like what players think that he's gone, and mainly some like of his worst lowlights ever. Like this has been like really bad. Like dark times for Giants fans. Like that defense is too stacked. You have the one of the best defensive lines in footballs, and you couldn't generate pass rush. I don't think Kayvon Thibodeau wasn't used correctly. I think he's so much better than what his stats say and what all the media says. Abdul Carter at Penn State was a monster, and he looks like an okay player, like a fourth or fifth round pick. He's been good. He's been getting pressures, but he hasn't been finishing at for the quarterback, and I think he can totally improve in that stat. Dexter Lawrence has not looked good this year either. He he was visibly upset too after that Lions game. He was crying. Mike Kafka said after he was crying. So I think that this is a good fire, long overdue. Like I said, this is gonna be a a long film sesh because there's so much Shane Bowen did wrong. All right, so this is Brian Burns on Bowen being fired. It's really funny because I'll show you this after the Instagram comments on a Giants fan page, but it's really funny. So
What was your reaction? You mentioned it was a bummer. Why was it a bummer? And were you surprised by
Brian
it?
Burns says it's like a bummer.
Just a bummer because I like Shane. And I worked with him this whole year. Being a leader this and last year, but being a leader of the defense. We had to develop a certain relationship. So that's why it's a bummer. But like I just said, like it's the nature of the business. Like once you have that first fire, just things start to kind of happen from there. And I've seen it before, so it's not like a crazy shocker, but it's just it's tough sometimes. Having that relationship with somebody for so long and then they just leave.
It's so funny to me because this guy cannot be any more happy. I feel like I can sense like a smile like coming out of his face because he knows he's been freed from purgatory. He knows he's been freed from everything that's been happening. The shit that's been happening with this terrible people in the comments. This same clip. People in the comments of this Instagram post for Fireside Giants, which is it's a really cool account. I follow them. It's basically the Giants. It's like all cap images. Stop the cap, brother. Like people were saying in the comments, like this is a better answer than what I would have given. I would have spoken my mind. I mean, okay. Like think of it from like a obviously like a football's perspective, and like this is his job. What he did was the right thing. Instead of blasting Shane Bowen and the Giants organization, he's gonna do the mature thing. He's gonna, like every other or majority of other athletes do, mature athletes do. He sits there. He says, "I love Shane Bowen. Wish for him the best. Gotta keep on moving." Perfect response. This is why he's a captain. This is why he's a veteran guy. He's been there since 2017, or he's been in the league since 2017. He got drafted in the same class as Dexter Lawrence. So it's a good move, and it's a neutral move. This is football 101, or like media 101 for sports players. Not even football, just sports players. It's media 101. So it's a good response by him, but something it's just the comments are killing me. Like this guy was terrible. He was terrible. The Giants were like worst in every single defensive category this year. Like they were really bad. They were below average in every single category. So yeah, their total defense ranks 29th in the NFL, allowing 385 yards per game. This team has Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Dexter Lawrence in their front line with good offensive line depth. Let that sink in. That's how bad this defensive coordinator was. You can, okay, what I saw, like what I heard when I was watching the Giants game on Sunday, whoever was commentating, I don't know, I don't remember who was commentating that game, but they said at one point you can't blame the play calling. You have to blame the people for not stepping up, the defense for not stepping up. Agreed. You at one point, like, they're not, like, the play calling isn't gonna affect how they actually play. But let's look at this, right? Brian Burns has had a career year this entire year. He's 13 sacks. He was leading the NFL in sacks before Myles Garrett tore it up this last couple. But like he this is a career year for him. He was leading the leagues in TFLs. He has 13 sacks, the most in his career, and the season isn't even over. They're only 13 or about to be 13 games in, and he's already has 13 sacks. This is the best he's ever played. And you're sitting there and you're saying it's not really on the play calling, it's on the defense. Brother, I disagree, like, half-heartedly disagree. He is second in sacks this year. He's 11th in forced fumbles. He's leading he's leading in TFLs. He's top 5 in that. He's having a career year. You know who's running him? The worst defensive coordinator in the league is coaching him. Imagine this team when Brian Burns is dropping coverage, which brings me to my next thing. Against the Bears, Rome Odunze on third down, Brian Burns was guarding Rome Odunze. That's how bad this scheme was. Brian Burns was guarding Rome Odunze. Okay, let that sink in. Rome Odunze, premier young guy, guarded by Brian Burns, who was dropping coverage, who's leading the NFL in sacks at that time. Dropped in coverage on third down, third and long. I don't even think Kayvon Thibodeau was in there too. I think it was Nacho was in there. It was Nunez Roches. All right, about it. So, okay, so Carter and Thibodeau is in there, so that's on me. But okay, so this is Apostle Debo was injured the week before, maybe a couple weeks before. So Deontay Banks is in. So I guess they're playing zone. Two high safeties, got three corners, and they're sagging the box. They're setting some pressure. The thing is, I think Brian Burns and I think that's Bobby Okereke, they both drop into coverage. It's Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, and Kayvon Thibodeau rushing, right? Brian Burns, I get he's an outside linebacker, but at one point you have to realize blitzing is the right decision with someone like Caleb Williams, who's a young quarterback, who's playing on a 5-3 team, who's in the first quarter. Why don't we rattle him a little bit instead of dropping Brian Burns in a zone where his primary guy is either Colson Loveland or Rome Odunze. Colson Loveland's obviously the better matchup here, but Rome Odunze, in breaking route, any defensive coordinator, a 17-year-old kid can literally diagnose that and say, why is Brian Burns dropping into coverage here? Brian Burns in a terrible position because he's not a middle linebacker. Shane Bowen, he's not a middle linebacker. You have to rush your primary guys. I don't even know what's going on behind me, but you have to drop your primary guys, your guys in coverage to actually, like, it baffles me. It's an easy first down. It's 3rd and 9. You have one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. You can have Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Lawrence all rushing at one point while blitzing, like, I don't know, Chelsea Golston. Like, they're playing so back too for a red zone opportunity in 39. I would like making a little more press man coverage to get your playmakers there to the ball, because I feel like they can fly to the ball quicker. Because look, in this play, Kayvon Thibodeau is already breaking through to Caleb Williams. Abdul Carter is already coming around the end. If Deontay Banks isn't playing so far up, if he's pressing a Odunze or pressing a Loveland or Komet, whoever the tight end is, that's a flush out for Caleb Williams. He's forced to make a athletic play. Obviously, it's Caleb Williams. You don't know what's going to happen, but it's a better option, a better alternative than this, where you have Brian Burns in a bad position against Rome Odunze, and this eventually leads to a touchdown, a Kyle Monungai touchdown. Like, it 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 really frustrated me. And then another was like the game winning field goal for the Broncos. See, you're dropping the same shit happened with Dallas. You're dropping three. You have I don't know. I think that's Robertson Harris or I don't know. Dexter Lawrence is in there for sure. I mean, the best defensive lineman in football, nose tackle, defensive tackle in football isn't in. By the way, you have Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns. Oh look, Brian Burns is actually rushing this play. Wait, really? You dropped three. The worst secondary in the league, by the way. One of the worst secondaries in the league when injured. There's no depth. Deontay Banks isn't a starting corner. He's a good backup. If anything, he's a mediocre backup, maybe even a below average backup actually. So you have all this. You have Phillips is fine, Flott's fine, Okereke is fine, but you're dropping three. The same thing happened with Dallas. The same thing happened with Dallas, where you drop three. Brandon Aubrey gets or Dak Prescott gets Brandon Aubrey in range. Brandon Aubrey gets a 60+ yard field goal. I mean, it's the same thing. You didn't learn from your mistakes. How many overtime games do you have to lose? How many close games like this do you have to lose to realize? Send the house. Blitz yourself. Blitz your premier players.
And no timeouts.
This gives Bo Nix so much time. There's an offensive lineman literally guarding nobody. So Bo Nix can step up. Secondary's burnt toast. Yep. Look at that. Wide open. There's Deontay Banks is burned. So this is even Sutton somehow caught this. Deontay Banks is burned. Drew Phillips is also kind of burned. It's not bad coverage. I know it's prevent, but like at the same time, why are you playing prevent? They have like 40 yards to go till they get into range. Treat it like a, I don't know, like a anything. Like treat it good. Like anyone can realize that like what he did was dumb. See, so now Darius Alexander's in there, Brian Burns is in there, Lawrence is in there, Thibodeau's in there. Perfect. Would love to see Abdul Carter like instead, and get rid of one of these middle linebackers that is in need, or Deontay Banks. And no pressure. That's unlucky. Musa was literally guarding nobody. I guess he's a spy for Knicks. And then there's just a good pass on Deontay Banks. And then they choked the game. And then finally, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm not even going to go over the Cowboys game. So Dexter Lawrence isn't in. Carter. I think that's Burns. Burns in there. That's fine. Dexter Lawrence is not in here. You have, the middle linebacker is very injured. Musa is gone. Flanagan Fowles got injured that game. And McFadden's been out basically the entire year. So you have DJ Davidson in, and I think that's Nacho. Nacho's Nakeem Nunez-Roches for non-Giants fans. Nakeem Nunez-Roches in there. And I think that's Darius Alexander in there. No, that's Brian Burns, and then I don't know who that's it. But no Dexter Lawrence, and reportedly at the end of the game, Dexter Lawrence was literally like in tears. And this article says he's in tears on the sideline. Your defensive coordinator has your players in tears because he wasn't out there. That's it. That's done. I don't think Daboll would have fired him. Honestly, if Daboll still had a job right now, he would not have fired him. And that scares me because this guy was terrible. Look at that. Terrible pursuit angles, terrible run calling, play calling. 54 is super far behind. Everyone crashed down for some reason and decided to leave the middle of the field open where Jahmyr Gibbs has elite speed and can torch the entire defense. But at least Mike Kafka made this his team by showing that, like, oh, hey, yeah, we're going to fire him for that. I don't think Daboll would have. So I appreciate that. But if you have Dexter Lawrence crying, a giant for life, like, I'm genuinely questioning his future with the team. Giant for life, extended in 2023. I really feel bad for him because we're wasting his prime. We're wasting Brian Burns' prime. Brian Burns has been on the shit Panthers. He's been on the shit Giants. Like, we're wasting two defensive players' primes. We're also wasting Abdul Carter's talent. Abdul Carter was so much better in Penn State, and he was known as like a pretty good prospect. That's why he's taking number 3. He was pretty good. He was a raw prospect. He just got recently converted off to rusher off, like, instead of an off-ball linebacker. Why would you drop Brian Burns if Abdul Carter is also played off-ball sooner? So he kind of knows like that. He's more familiar to that. I don't I don't know why he would do that, but again, this team is dysfunctional. At least Mike Kafka is holding the entire offense and just team uh accountable, but the season's already lost, it's already eliminated, so they're gonna have to start doing mock drafts, and yeah, it's gonna be rough. But hey, at least he's gone. So what else can you ask for?